Right in. So, have you ever walked down an empty engineering hostel corridor at like 1 a.m.? If you've ever lived in a college dorm, you know exactly the unsettling vibe we're talking about here. It's that super eerie combination of flickering white tube lights, maybe a faint glow slipping out from under a door where some intense coding session is happening, and above all, just this profound, heavy silence.
Picture this. It's exactly 1 a.m., room 107, total silence. We meet our main guy, Ravi. He's a fourth-year engineering student sitting totally alone, surrounded by half-empty coffee mugs and a whiteboard absolutely covered in formulas. And you might be wondering, why is he so stressed? Well, he just got hit with a really harsh rejection from this major tech company, Hypotenuse Technologies, and now he is frantically cramming for his next placement interview.
But then, out of nowhere, the silence just breaks. Thack! A sudden, loud noise echoes down the empty corridor. Now, what's fascinating here is the human psychology of it all, right? Ravi actually dismisses it at first. He just assumes it's normal, late-night hostel shenanigans. You know, maybe someone had a bit too much to drink, or somebody's just stumbling to the washroom. But then, a low, totally animalistic growl follows.
Okay, so Ravi slowly opens his door to peek out into that flickering hallway, and almost immediately his eyes lock onto something horrifying on the floor. There's this thin, dark line trailing straight out of the common bathroom and heading right toward the stairs. And spoiler alert, it wasn't water. It was a thick, unmistakable line of red blood. Suddenly, this absolute blood-curdling scream echoes from that bathroom. Ravi rushes over to see what's happening, and he just freezes. He sees a guy with a completely blood-soaked face brutally attacking and, get this, literally biting the neck of Amit, a first-year student who lives on their floor.
And guys, this is exactly where the story shifts from a weird mystery to just pure terror. Because the attacker, it's not some stranger. It's Virat, Ravi's good friend and cricket buddy. But as this menacing growl escapes Virat's throat, it becomes painfully clear that he is transformed. I mean, he's just not human anymore. Virat locks eyes with Ravi and starts this unnatural, terrifying advance toward him. So Ravi does what literally any of us would do. He sprints straight back to room 107 and bolts the door shut. Safe inside, the physical panic instantly turns into digital panic. 500. That is the massive number of unread messages that have just flooded the hostel WhatsApp group chat in a matter of minutes. It's blowing up. And the warnings from the other students are totally frantic. Things like, bro, lock the room. Don't open the door. People have gone mad in college. They are biting each other. Reading through these, it hits Ravi like a ton of bricks. This is not an isolated incident. The entire college has completely lost control. So how did this massive outbreak even happen? Well, the source material breaks down the chilling lore for us. Apparently, earlier that day at a pre-placement party, the college toppers drank what they thought was just a regular welcome drink, but actually, it was some sort of unknown serum. And this serum mutated them into these violent zombies who are now aggressively attacking and infecting the rest of the student body.
Right as Ravi is trying to process this absolute nightmare, we hit peak claustrophobia. Bam! Power cut. No network. Just total darkness. The only light left in room 107 is this incredibly eerie, cold blue glow radiating from his laptop and phone screens, and in that faint light, he notices a shadow blocking the gap under his door. Then come 3 slow, escalating knocks. Thack, thack, thack. Ravi calls out asking who's there, but he gets 0 reply. The silence is just agonizing, and then the door handle begins to slowly move left and right. Suddenly it starts violently shaking. Whatever is on the other side is desperately losing patience and is actively trying to break in. And then the tension completely shatters. The door breaks, the wood just splinters and gives way, and an enraged Virat forces his way inside, breathing heavily and growling. In this desperate, split-second fight for survival, Ravi grabs a chair, smashes it over Virat's head, shoves him out of the way, and just bolts out of the room. But escaping the room definitely doesn't mean escaping the nightmare. Once he's outside, Ravi is met with a massive horde of over 100 infected students just wandering the courtyard. To put that into perspective, it's a literal army of zombies. They've got glowing white eyes, torn clothes, horrific bite marks, and they all start turning right toward him. Totally outnumbered, Ravi changes course and sprints towards his absolute last possible refuge, the college library.
He ducks inside and cowers behind a bookshelf, literally trembling in terror as this infected mob slowly starts wandering into the aisles. It's tense. But after a few agonizing minutes, the horde actually starts shuffling back out. Ravi takes a breath. He thinks he might have actually survived.
Until a single drop of blood falls right onto his face. He slowly looks up, and there is Virat, perched directly on top of the bookshelf, staring right down at him. No way, right?
Virat instantly leaps down and attacks. And of course, the struggle draws the entire infected mob right back into the library, and they completely swarm Ravi. When Ravi finally opens his eyes again, they are stark, glowing white. He's become exactly like the rest of them. What was once the prestigious Indian Institute of Innovation has been completely overrun. It's now the Indian Institute of Zombies. The horde has essentially achieved a complete, unstoppable takeover of the entire campus.
So, who's gonna stop this zombie attack? I mean, it's the perfect cliffhanger to a truly terrifying story, right? But here's what's really interesting about this narrative we've been unpacking. It's actually an incredibly clever setup.
Yep, here is the real story. All of this terrifying midnight lore we just analyzed, it's actually the plot of a brand new, highly anticipated movie called Indian Institute of Zombies. This explainer has essentially walked you through the super dynamic setup of this upcoming film, which officially hits theaters on May 15th.
And honestly, here's the best part. It's not just a horror movie, it's a horror comedy. You can expect some huge laughs because the brilliant minds behind this script are the exact same writers who brought us massive hits like Tindora, Taza Kabar, and Farzi. They are taking this intense, scary setup we just explored and totally injecting it with the kind of hilarious comedy that can only happen when desperate engineering students try to fight off a literal zombie apocalypse.
So, will you survive the horrors of the Indian Institute of Zombies, or will you just die laughing? It promises to be this fantastic blend of tension and comedy. Grab your friends, get ready for that May 15th theatrical release, and hey, if you enjoyed unpacking this awesome story with us today, make sure to subscribe to Kuni Monday for more fascinating tales. And seriously ask yourself, what would you have done if you were the one stuck in room 107?